Steve. I just realized I did the whole intro. Our fabulous fall prevention show on mute. So we have David Naghi on with us. You're going to have a fantastic caregiver question related to falls or fall prevention or staying safe in your home. And our very own Melinda Hughes from the Strength Shop is going to talk about how you keep our body strong. So we'll go ahead and cut that first part out. So tell us, what is your caregiver question today?
The caregiver question today comes from a gentleman. He's moving from his parents' house in a few months, and he's worried that they won't be safe. The dad has dementia, and the mom is legally blind, and they have they know their way through their house. The parents do, but the son's worried that when they leave, he won't be able to check on them and make sure that everything's okay. So, what can he do?
That is a great question and a big quandary, obviously, that he's in. We go in and do assessments on what kind of support an individual might need. So assuming we don't know what's happening, caregivers can come in to check. But I think the other thing that'll be really interesting is Mobi technology actually has some really neat options to support someone living in their home alone. Some of the things are very non-invasive. You can have cameras, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I think it's super helpful. I think sometimes initially a senior feels like that's very invasive, but then they feel very secure knowing that somebody's still able to check in on them. And we'll talk a little bit more with David about more specifics about that. But I think that could be a really great option for them. But if they needed something, they can obviously check in with About Senior Solutions, and we can assess the situation for them too, see how much or how little they need for support.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce David, and how about I check in with you later?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
Not with technology, though. Just really check in with me.
Okay. All right. See you later.
Okay.
And let me go ahead and introduce David. He is a phenomenal inventor, and he has created all kinds of amazing things over the years. He is the founder and CEO of Mobi Technologies. He is a veteran in both the consumer electronics products and healthcare through the companies he has operated for over 20 years. Specifically, his experience and involvement in running and managing his own medical pharmacy and medical supplies company, along with having aging parents, that always triggers these inventions. I'm certain of it. His aging parents provided him with insights into changing the challenges in the healthcare industry. Insurance can be limited in their benefits, and aging population has placed so much strain on the family and the friends struggling to provide care and support for their loved ones, all while trying to manage their own day-to-day affairs. So he's also been one of those caregivers to his elderly parents over several years, and he's firsthand knowledge of the many needs and complications others and he himself are facing. And so he applied his background and expertise in technology to find out how to create an affordable, simple solution that will assist others in similar situations. Mr. Naghi holds numerous patents and trademarks in the US and other countries. His personal involvement in consumer electronics industry has resulted in the development and marketing of revolutionary concepts and products, setting new design standards and industry firsts. He has won tons of awards. We can talk about that later, but I think we really want to invite David on and find out more about what he has and what he can support us with for our older adults. So here we go. I'm going to bring him on now, and welcome. Here we go. He's coming on in 1 second there. Hi,
Good morning.
David. Good morning. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no. What you have to offer is just absolutely incredible. And that situation is a real situation that we're dealing with, that caregiver question that we had earlier. And I have a feeling what you are offering is going to be a huge support to the family. And I think the older adults, the parents, are going to feel better about not having the children hovering over them. but they're going to feel secure. So tell me a little bit about what led you to developing and putting Mobi technologies together.
Well, as I mentioned, basically my aging parents won, and of course, being involved in technology, tried to create better solutions than what was available at the time. And so, putting two and two together, came up with various solutions that can make things a lot easier for family members. And between my siblings and other caregivers, we had a full-time caregiver, and still they demanded more support. So these are the solutions that I kind of came up with that can easily make things easier for everyone. So multiple people can, provide support for parents or anyone.
So is there an app attached to the product? So how does somebody who's
Correct.
watching or
So,
needing
so the product is can start from a basic starter kit, simple as a button, which is an alert button. They
Okay.
can simply press that, and that works throughout the house. And multiple people can get simultaneous notification
Nice.
through the app. And there's also professional monitoring available as an option if that's what they choose to subscribe to. Very affordable at $4.99 per month.
Wow.
And that can basically send support as quickly as possible through EMS.
Okay.
And one of the things we've done through the app is it can automatically provide EMS with critical information. So before they arrive, or even when they arrive, they know exactly how to take care of the patient.
Wow. Wow. How is that? How do they know exactly how to
We
do that?
transmit the information directly through our systems to the
Wow.
emergency services.
Wow.
So
Very
we've set
advanced.
that up to make things, because that's critical to know what kind of allergies the patient has, what type of medications they're on, who to contact as far as doctor, physicians, and so on. So we store that information in the app, and it goes through the system whenever needed.
Wow, that is important. And knowing exactly what medications and things somebody's on in advance does tell you what kind of
Correct. So
disease
EMS,
process.
just for your audience, if EMS, emergency medical service, that's like ambulance or police, for example, or fire
Fantastic.
department.
That's great. And then tell me about some of the other things, because you really have a very broad spectrum of items. I was
Sure.
really impressed. I've never seen anything so inclusive. And so share a little bit more. I'm worried about my mom leaving the
Sure.
coffee pot on, or
So
especially her curling iron.
okay, yeah. So once that's the button is just one part of the system, right? And what happens, for example, if they press the button in case of they need some help or assistance or emergency, if the users can, they can essentially put cameras around the house, such as this, very easy to install, place them in different places, and it has two-way audio, it has night vision. It can also record. So essentially, through the app, once family member gets a notification, they can go and look at the camera, have a two-way communication, and determine what's really going on instead of panicking, right?
Right.
And so they can have multiple cameras, they can have multiple sensors, essentially, and from there they can take care of whatever needs to happen.
That's great. We have a viewer who asked, "What is EMS?" And
Correct.
I think you can answer that question
Emergency
easily.
medical services.
Exactly. So when your ambulance shows up, they know what's going on. So
Correct.
thank you for that question. That's a great question. And then tell me about some of the other items you have some things that are kind of help you
So we
know.
have, for example, so some of the other products that we have would be a water leak sensor. For example, if there is the faucet that's left on by accident, or there is a door that's left open, or they open up the door at times of the day that they're not supposed to really leave the house. Essentially, those can also trigger notifications to one or more persons, and essentially make sure things are okay. And essentially, the whole thing becomes a home environment management and monitoring, rather than just an emergency only button.
No, that's great, because
from personal experience, my father left the house in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And
Wow.
nobody knew he was gone, and they located him like a mile away, essentially.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's things like that that unfortunately a lot of people are facing, and they need some additional devices or help. And not everyone can afford a caregiver, right?
No,
So
it's true.
these things essentially allow family members to allow their parents to live in their home and be able to look at them, monitor them, check in on them anytime they want to with ease through the app, and also share the burden of caregiving with multiple people. So one person doesn't necessarily have to be always the one monitoring. So with
So, and I imagine too, do your devices have kind of a trigger? So if something, it measures their behavior, and if it's outside of their kind of
that's
behavior
what we're
zone.
working on, like artificial intelligence, where we can see patterns.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, if they're supposed to be in the kitchen between, like, for example, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., and nothing happens between those hours, then that triggers a notification.
That's great. We have another question. So I'm going to throw my glasses on really quickly
Sure.
here. How does transmitting medical data providers stay HIPAA compliant? Oh, that's a great question.
Okay, so we don't have, good question. HIPAA, I understand because of the pharmacy that I'm involved with, that I own. So this does not give any specific medical information. It just gives, for example, the doctor, primary doctor. You can have additional doctors, multiple doctors. You can have emergency contact information. You can have medications that they might be on, allergies they may have. And of course, as we grow and we improve the app, then yes, if it requires to have HIPAA compliant, we are familiar with that and we can accommodate that.
That's great. And then we have another question. Somebody asked, is it complicated to install? Do I have to hire a tech?
That's a great question. It's very simple. We've made the system so that anyone can essentially, as long as you have Wi-Fi, you can add the device essentially as a device. And basically the app, you just download the app through the App Store on either Android or Apple, and set that up, I would say within, depending on the device, anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes.
I know.
And we have free support. For any questions or issues that people might be having.
I'm going to go ahead and add your customer service support number here too, so that way if people have more questions. Do you have a website too? Is it Mobi
Sure.
Technologies? Or
it's they can visit the Mobi-Inc. or either getmobi.com, getmobi.com.
Great, that's fantastic. Let's see. I actually was telling one of my friends that your cameras were so easy. She's a realtor, phenomenal realtor. And I told her, if you're having trouble getting enough team members in to watch a large home that you're selling, you might want to set these cameras up, because boom, you plug them in, you move them in another direction, or you take them to the next house. That's how easy it seemed to me to set the camera up. So I thought that was really fantastic. And I love the plug feature, because like I said, my mom leaves her curling iron on all the time, and we can set this plug in the wall with her curling iron, and she can, or I can, turn her curling iron off.
One of the other functions or features the product has is you can have multiple help buttons that are essentially portable. You can either mount them or carry them. So if there's more than one person or multiple rooms, you want to have these placed, the batteries last for 3 to 6 months, easily replaceable. So you can name the buttons, and if anyone different or any room particularly is pressed, then right away, whoever gets the notification knows exactly who or which room.
Oh, wow. 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 So is that something you can kind of set up next to medications and know
Absolutely.
that somebody took their medication?
Put one next to the bed, put one in the kitchen, put one next to the shower.
And somebody else asked a question I think we talked a little bit about before, and his question is actually on our screen. How much is a button?
Okay, they should retail. Well, the first initial kit is about $99 to $129, depending. We have an introductory offer at $99 right now. That comes with a receiver as well, and that allows you to expand into hundreds of devices. The additional buttons are about $24.99 to $29.99, depending.
That's great. No, that's really great.
Very
So
affordable.
tell me a little bit more about your dad's situation. I mean, you said he just walked out of the house at 3 o'clock in the morning. So
Well, he lived into his 90s, so with age, obviously comes complications, and he was mobile, which was great. On the other hand, my mom, she was bedridden for about 5 to 6 years, for a long time, and that was more challenging. But my dad, being mobile, had different challenges, and between my brothers and sisters, essentially they had to visit them very often, take care of them, and again, it got me thinking, hey, and knowing that the population is aging. There's currently, I'm sure 10,000 people a day are entering
yes,
Medicare,
yes,
reaching 65 years and up.
right.
And so that population category is really growing, and the needs for healthcare is growing, and the money for healthcare is not there anymore.
Well, and I have
So
to say
Medicare,
too, even if people have money, there's a caregiver shortage right now. So even the
yeah,
people that can
absolutely,
afford
absolutely.
$200,000 a year for 24-hour care, that's a
That
staggering
is
amount. We can't get the caregivers in the house,
for,
so
so it's
this is
very challenging for the average person.
yeah,
And again, people having fewer kids, and the kids are now sometimes in different cities or different. They have to work full time. They have their own kids to take care of. Essentially, the sandwich generation. So they have the younger kids that they have to take care of, and then they have elderly parents at the same time.
yeah.
So with that said, all these devices is there to essentially help them.
And I'm sure you were there too, raising children
Oh yes.
and parents. And there's another product that you have that I've seen the light bulbs, but I thought this was really unique because somebody who is hard of hearing, you have
Mhm.
these special light bulbs. Tell us how that application works.
So as you can again add additional devices, but one of them, like you mentioned, is a light bulb. It's an alert system. It can be used as an alert for visually impaired, if you will, or if it's a noisy environment, or a combination. You don't have to use one or the other. You can use them all simultaneously. You can have a light bulb essentially put in different rooms, and all of them can light up whenever if the help button, for example, is pressed. So
That's
it
great.
becomes a visual indicator of the situation for whether in the same household or even across the world, as long as it's connected to the internet. So essentially, you could be at your office, your mom could push the button, and the light turns on in your office.
Oh, that's great. Another listener or viewer just mentioned, can these applications be used to prevent elder abuse? And I think it would be perfect because you do have the
Absolutely.
doorbell, you know who's coming, a family
Absolutely.
member would know who's approaching the door, but as
So,
well as having the
so how
cameras in
that
the
can
house.
Sure, and how that can assist is the cameras. If you add cameras, you can have a memory card inserted. It's a standard SD card, so they're always recording, or they could be scheduled to record only at certain times. And you can always go back and play back with sound and see what happened. And you can go back depending on the memory card. You can go up to like a month to 2 months of
Oh,
recording.
wow. Wow, that's a really long
So
time.
you can look at the day and the time of the day and hit play, and it plays the video for you.
Wow, that's a really lengthy period of time. I know some of the
Yep.
film with the cameras in facilities, it's gone within a very short period of time, or the loop runs out, the film runs
So,
out. So,
like I said, it's very affordable. Anyone, you can buy the memory cards, like 128 gigabyte. That should give you about a month and a half to 2 months of recording, and that's probably about a $29-30 investment.
wow,
And you can have the video recording all the time.
that's fantastic. I love it.
We've made it
And
very affordable and easy, and we've standardized a lot of things, so anyone can use it essentially.
absolutely. Oh, that's great. David, I am so excited to
Thank
use
you.
these products with my clients, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the technology that you continue to improve with the products that you have. And I'm going to go ahead and real quickly, I'm going to add your customer service phone number again and put that here in our crawler. And Any final
No,
comments?
again, this is something that we have just launched. We are going to continue to improve the product line and add new devices, new features, new functions to make things easier for the elderly and the caregivers and everyone that needs the support.
That's
So
great.
thank you
Fantastic.
very much.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate you, and we look forward to hearing more about how you advance with the technology. Will you come
Look
back?
forward. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
great. Great. All right. Thank you so much. And we will have David on another day. I am so impressed with the service and with that specific product that he offers. I think it's going to really support a lot of people in crisis and in situations where they can get to the hospital faster for issues. And I'm so impressed. Oh, we have another viewer on too who says great information. Oh, thank you, Steve Sherba reached out. So thank you for watching the show. And now we are going to bring on our very own and our very favorite Melinda Hughes. So let me go ahead and we'll intro her really fast.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. That was fabulous. What an awesome product.
Isn't
Like,
that
yeah.
interesting? It's so multidimensional as far as all the types of things and so forth. And I'm so excited. We just have so many viewers popping in a lot of questions, and feel free to ask questions to Melinda as well. But we're going to talk a little bit about strengthening that body and making sure that we prevent falls to begin with. So share a little bit about that with us.
Well, fall prevention, a lot of times when clients ask about fall prevention, what we're really talking about is improving balance. And so we get that a lot at the Strength Shop is how can I improve my balance? And balance is really a combination of muscle strength and the flexibility of our muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So as we age, and this is a natural part of the aging process, we lose muscle. As we age, we lose about a half a pound of muscle a year unless we're doing something to keep that muscle or to build muscle. And we lose the flexibility of our muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So our body becomes more rigid. That's why we see older people kind of shuffle as they walk. They're taking smaller steps. And when you don't have the flexibility of the muscles, tendons, and ligaments, you're not able to catch yourself from falls, and you don't have that muscle strength. So some of the biggest and best things that we can do just at home, if you're not in a program like we have at the Strength Shop, is spending some time stretching your lower body. Stretching your upper body too really helps. And then I tell people all the time that a big thing that they can do for fall prevention is to really focus on using their muscles when they're doing things. So when you get up out of a chair, focus on using your leg muscles. Sometimes we kind of just get used to throwing our body around and using kind of momentum and movements. And we really want to focus on using the muscles when we get up out of a chair, or using the muscles when we're walking, using the muscles when we're doing anything, so that we can keep that muscle strength. And that does a lot.
Yeah,
So.
I love sitting in a chair sometimes and just showing one of my clients, what I really want you to do is be able to stand from your chair without even using your hands. And I had one client who was so darling. He's like, oh, that's amazing that you can do that. And we got him to do it too. So he eventually got that body strength back up after having a little hospitalization. And it was really neat to see him get his strength back too. And share a little bit more too about just how even the Strength Shop, doing those circuits in the Strength Shop. And I think the legs are so important to maintain that health and your bone density for that too.
Yeah, the workout at the Strength Shop was developed for osteoporosis physical therapy. So definitely bone density is a huge concern for a lot of people who come to us. It should be a huge concern for everybody. We lose bone as we age as well, and that starts when we're younger than we think. I always make the joke that we think Osteoporosis is something that we should worry about when, we turn 65 or get our AARP card in the mail, but it's something that begins a long time before that.
Mhm.
It's a silent disease. So a broken bone is usually the first indication. And by that time, you've really got a problem. But we can do a lot to prevent it. And strength training is one of the things that prevents osteoporosis. We can keep our bones strong. Basically, what we're doing on the machines is slowly lifting the weight without momentum. So when you slowly lift that weight, your muscle's doing all of the work. That creates these little microscopic tears to the muscle fibers. It creates a little trauma to the bone where the microscopic traumas to the bone where the muscle tugs on the bone. And this initiates or stimulates the body to produce more muscle, to produce more bone. When we work slowly through that full range of motion on the machines, we're also stretching the muscles, tendons, and ligaments through that full range of motion. So as we contract one muscle, for instance, the bicep, we're actually lengthening and stretching the opposing muscle, the tricep. So when we work through that full range of motion slowly, we're helping to retain or even regain, if it's been lost, what we call functional flexibility, which is the full range of motion on the body and which is absolutely necessary for balance and for posture. So we don't get the
sarcopenia going with
Yeah.
our little stretched over bodies, or
Yes.
we get that crunched over look.
The classic widow or widowed, was it dowager's hump?
Yeah.
Dowager's hump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can actually improve that, and that's when you improve your posture too. That's really important for balance because that's the way the body is supposed to be held. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, thank you. And I think we're going to plan a party at your place pretty soon. So
Yeah,
we'll
we
be
are.
making that
Yeah.
announcement after we make those arrangements. And I hope you'll stop by because we're fun
Yeah.
people to hang out with.
Yeah, at the studio, we'll have a great time. We'll be able to answer people's questions and show them different things if they stop by.
Absolutely. It'll be great. So have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
You.
And we'll see you next week.
All right. I'll be here.
Okay. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah. Now I think we're going to go ahead and we'll announce our birthday for the week. We have a birthday, and Mr. Jim, let's see, I want just him to shine. Oh, I did the opposite. I'm you. Hey, Steve.
Hey, you kind of disappeared for a second.
I did disappear. So thanks for being on the show, and thanks for that great question. I really feel for that family, and I do know,
Right.
I know part of their story, so I really do feel for them. But I also want to thank all of our viewers today. We had fabulous questions, and
You did. It's awesome.
I think I want to keep that rolling. So please keep coming and asking those questions. It's great. Anything fun, interesting for the weekend?
Well, we should mention that today's National World Smile Day.
Very good.
We should all make sure we smile today, and it's also National Homemade Cookie Day.
Ooh, that's dangerous for me.
Right?
I love homemade cookies, especially chocolate chip. All right.
I'm an oatmeal raisin person.
Oh, oatmeal raisin. You know what? I like to even put chocolate in my oatmeal raisin. It makes it that much better.
All right. I'll be over later.
All right. So have a great one, and come back and join us next week at 8 o'clock on Friday. Thank you. Now we'll say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.